Well, good morning. I hope everybody is doing well and had a wonderful Christmas. I'm Meredith Patterson. I'll be your Zoom host and your pianist and, well, all around tour guide this morning. And our speaker today will be Jan Estes. You are joining the Unitarian Universalists of New Braunfels in another one of our virtual services. We welcome everyone, no exceptions. So I'm going to go ahead and light my candle, our chalice today, such as it is. Greet all of you. We gather on the cusp of this new year, eager to begin anew, hopeful for what lies ahead, promising to make changes, anticipating tomorrows and tomorrows. Together we join our celebration of life, knowing that life includes good and bad, endings and beginnings. With these things in mind, we light our chalice. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jan, who's going to start with a reading.
Well, good morning, everyone. Our reading this morning is by Robert Weston, and the title is Time Out of Time Before Time. Out of the stars in their flight, out of the dust of eternity, here have we come. Stardust and sunlight mingling through time and through space. Out of the stars have we come, up from time. Out of the stars have we come. Time out of time before time, in the vastness of space. Earth spun to orbit the sun. Earth with the thunder of mountains newborn, the boiling of seas. Earth warmed by the sun, lit by sun, light. This is our home. Out of the stars have we come. Mystery hidden in mystery, back through all time. Mystery rising from rocks in the storm and the sea. Out of the stars rising from rocks in the sea, kindled by sunlight on earth, arose life. Ponder this thing in your heart, ponder with awe. Out of the sea to the land, out of the shallows come the ferns. Out of the sea to the land, up from darkness to light, rising to walk and to fly. Out of the sea trembled life. Ponder this thing in your heart, life up from the sea. Eyes to behold, throats to sing, mates to love. Life by the sea, from the sea, warmed by sun, washed by rain. Life from within, giving birth, rose to love. This is the wonder of time. This is the marvel of space. Creation becoming through time. Out of the stars swung the earth. Life upon earth rose to love. This is the marvel of life, rising to see and to know. Out of your heart cry wonder and sing that we live. Let me preface today's talk with a brief caveat. When you think of old fairy tales, remember that the Brothers Grimm tales were a little bit grittier and maybe a tad crueler than the Andersen variety. And so it is with the ancient myths that I'll refer to today. The violence, the cruelty is necessary to the subject, and so I left it in. On the other hand, it's very brief. So forewarned is forearmed. There you have it. New Year's Day is one of the oldest holidays known to recorded history. The first known observance of this day was in Babylon over 4,000 years ago. It was at that time celebrated in March, signifying spring is the new beginning. Until 46 BC, the Romans also celebrated New Year's in March. But in that year, Julius Caesar designated New Year's Day as January 1st to make sure that the days were back in touch with the perceived changes in the cycles of the sun. The days of the Roman calendar had become so out of sync with the sun and the seasons that order had to be restored. Thus, the January 1st date remained the first day of the new year on the Roman calendar. And the tradition was picked up and continued by Egyptian and Celtic cultures. Today, the image of Father Time is often used to personify the old year, and the baby, often shown with him, is to depict the new year. Father Time is, of course, a personification of time. He is usually depicted as an elderly, bearded man dressed in a robe, and like the Hindu god Shiva, carries a scythe, a cutting implement, and an hourglass or some other timekeeping device. Now, remember that scythe. It has a good historical reason for being there, as we shall soon see. Our Father Time was adapted from the Titan Cronus, who, with his sister Rhea, was the sixth set of Titan twins born to Gaia, Earth Mother, and Uranus, Sky Father. After the birth of all of the Titan twins, Uranus developed this little quirk of not really caring for all the following offspring. And so he forced them to go back into Gaia's womb. Now, after a while, Gaia tired of all of this. The Earth Mother knew that creation was not progressing as it should. Creation was stuck. And so she called upon her sixth son, Cronus, who was the master of time, to come to her aid. With his mother's help, Cronus created a sickle, cut off his father's genitals, and threw them into the sea. With Cronus's aid, time became unstuck. Or with time's aid, creation became unstuck and continued becoming, as creation is supposed to do. Now, you would think that Cronus would never forget the lesson that he had taught his father, but no. Archetypes, like humans, forget. After he defeated his father and married his sister, Rhea, he forced Rhea to bring him each child she bore, whereupon he immediately swallowed them every one, because he didn't want to be forced to hand off his power to his offspring. Well, you can see that this puts creation out of whack yet again, because creation has to progress through time in order to become. Without time, creation becomes stuck. Now, this did not sit well with Rhea, and after giving birth to her sixth child, she cleverly presented a rock wrapped in swaddling clothes to Cronus, which he mistook for the infant and promptly swallowed it. Now, this sixth child that was saved just happened to be named Zeus. And he did return in later years to defeat his father and liberate his 5 siblings from Cronus's stomach. Creation, which had stagnated because of Cronus's refusal to properly employ his power over time, began anew. Now, let's come forward to our modern day image of Father Time and also his counterpart, Baby New Year. Baby New Year is often depicted wearing nothing more than a diaper, wearing a top hat, and has a banner over his torso saying the year that he is representing. The myth associated with baby time, with the New Year time, is, of course, that he's a baby at the beginning of the year, and then quickly and properly matures through the year until at the end of the year he is father time, and he properly hands over his duties to the new baby, to the next baby new year. The cycle begins anew. This custom of using a baby to represent the new year began in Greece in 600 BC and is now popular tradition in many countries. Now, let's go back to Babylon, where all of this started. The tradition of making resolutions on New Year's Eve began with ancient Babylonians. This, they felt, was an excellent way to begin the new year with a clear conscience. They did it by returning items borrowed from neighbors during the past year. And I think this is a really spiffy idea. And Trish, just in case you're an ancient Babylonian, I swear I'll get all the books I borrowed from you back to you before the year is out. Anyway, how this resolution making got from the outwardly focused, goodwill inducing return of borrowed items to the more self-serving, I will lose weight this year, that's anybody's guess. Yet, over many centuries, this tradition has remained an important part of the New Year's celebration. It seems the most modern version of this seems to be to purposely make resolutions that you intend to break, but with impunity. At any rate, Meredith and I are here to help you approach the new year with resolutions made in a more deliberate and deeply felt manner. Back in the good old days of 1 BC, that's the year before COVID, Meredith and I might have offered you a burning bowl ceremony in which you could figuratively burn your old habits and then replace them with your hopes and dreams for the coming year. But these are unprecedented times, and we are forced to pivot. Now, if you'll allow me a personal observation at this point in time, and I guess you have to because everybody's muted and I'm not. I don't know about you, but I've been feeling stuck this year. And the longer the year goes on, the stucker I feel. It's this year has gone on forever. And it seems to me that unlike our earlier story in which creation was stuck because Kronos refused to properly employ his power over time, in our case, it's time, not creation, that's stuck. And I just have to believe that in our case, it's, well, it's for me at least, that a good bit of 2020 snail's pace can be blamed on someone who does not employ his power over creation properly. Instead of purposely trying to create order, which is the proper role, he creates chaos. And at the end of his time of power, as that comes to a close, he refuses to hand over his duties to baby 2021. And I ask you, where is a sickle when you really need one? But I think for our modern day Uranus, cutting off his access to publicity and throwing it in the sea might just suffice. But I digress. But I suspect that some of you feel stuck in time along with me. And I propose that we prepare to kiss 2020 goodbye and put it firmly in our rearview mirror. Since we have been meeting virtually rather than face to face all year long, we must now shift to a virtual banishment of of all that you want to push away from you in 2021 and have a virtual visioning of all things good that you wish to replace it with, all good things for you wish for in 2021. So in a moment, Meredith will begin playing some meditative music. And while she plays, you are invited to bring to mind things, attitudes, events from 2020 that you wish to banish. You want to keep well away from you in the new year. And considering the year we've had, I don't think that will be too hard. And then, since everything in this life has an opposite side of itself, the good, the bad, the good. It's so at the same time, envision what you would like to replace this bad stuff that you've banished, what you want to replace it with. And you may want to think of several good things for the new year. That's perfectly fine. You're the boss here. Then I would like for you to I invite you to mentally project these things to your personal burning bowl, this fire of transformation that lives with you just on the edge of your imagination. Just throw all these things into the fire to be transformed, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes after Meredith has played some sati for us. Welcome back. We're going to finish this process by cleverly employing both magic and science. So I hope that every personality type in the audience is satisfied. The magic part is I'm going to divine the banishments that you cast into the fire of transformation into your own personal burning bowls. And don't ask how I do this because it's magic. It's a miracle. And the science part of it is you will be using the miracle of electronic communication to write your hopes and dreams for the future into the chat box. Meredith will share these hopes and dreams aloud while I make doubly sure that not one shred of what you banished, what you cast in the fire to banish, remains to contaminate 2021. So please feel free to write your hopes and dreams for 2021 into the chat box.
And I will encourage you all to participate as you would like to, something brief. And I'll read them as they come about here. We have one, I'm not going to name names, I'm just 2 ounces, my COVID mask. Another note here for health, good government, equity, travel, company, energy, lots of things. Another one here that says hopes and dreams for 2021, a more empathetic, kinder, gentler, healthier world. Well said, well said. Global effort to combat climate issues, to become more involved in I like that one. Another one, my hope is that I will now get paid to do photography for the SMDR newspaper. Getting paid is always good. Good health, travel, COVID-19 be gone. I think we all share that sentiment. And I'll put my own in it as well for good health and healing for our divisiveness. Here's one that's for peace and prosperity for all. To renew further efforts to immigrants as they wait at the border. Oh, yes. Wonderful surprises and delights. I like that one. To cast off our reaction and bring in thoughtful action. Lead a less polemic life. Really good thoughts, everybody. And if you want to share it later, here's one: help to teach emotional intelligence for personal growth. I really like that one. Restored democracy. I have one for improved education programs and better regard for our teachers. One that says quit being grounded and get back to globetrotting. Yeah, everybody's getting a little itchy, I think, a little restless for travel. And if you think of it later and want to share something as we open up a little later in the service, feel free. These are all wonderful, wonderful thoughts, everyone. Thank you so much. We're going to extinguish the chalice. Wish everyone that their hopes and wishes for the new year come true. We're certainly hoping for that. And and as we extinguish the chalice, we're all going to sing Auld Lang Syne. So I have the lyrics up here for you. There's lots of verses to Auld Lang Syne. Jan and I just stuck to two. So go for it.